Am I the asshole? For telling my parents why my boyfriend had a panic attack? My boyfriend Casey is on the spectrum and is very touch adverse, especially people he doesn't know well. Some of it stemming from his autism and some of it from the years he spent on the streets surviving when his parents kicked him out at 13 when they found out he was gay. They apparently had a hard enough problem just dealing with him being autistic, as my family is very huggy and touchy. It's kinda like our love language, so it was hard for me when I had to wait for him to get comfortable enough with me that I can hold him, hug him, etc. Even still, I usually ask him first just in case. Even though we've been together for about a year and some months, he hasn't really met my family yet because we live across the country at school. I brought him home with me for a family reunion last weekend, and I explained to my parents and my siblings in the vaguest way that he doesn't like physical touch too much because he doesn't like people knowing about his time on the street. Apparently my mom saw me give him a hug when we got to my parents' house Friday and assumed I was over-exaggerating, and when we got to the door she just opened the door and grabbed us up in one of her big bear hugs. Casey of course freaked the FCK out and had a panic attack. It took me a good while to get him to calm down, and he didn't want to stay at my parents', so we had to get a hotel room. I called my parents later that night while Casey was asleep and explained some things so that they could really understand what happened and to not do something like that again. Everything was fine until Sunday when my dad and Casey got to talking and my dad absent-mindedly said something about his parents missing out on such a sweet boy. Casey panicked and just got up and ran off. It took me like 2 hours to find him, and he was mad and yelled at me that I had no right to say anything to my parents. I tried to apologize and I told him I only said anything so they'd back off. He yells at me that he doesn't know if he can trust me right now and that he just wanted to go home, and so we left early. He's still been mad at me all week about it. Am I the asshole? Nah. But you should realize that relationships don't have to be this hard, especially at 19. Sometimes people need to get their own mental house in order before pairing up. Casey needs therapy, not a relationship. Not the asshole for now. That seems exhausting to have to deal with. Nah. You should have discussed this with your boyfriend before disclosing specifics to your parents, but your heart was in the right place. Your mom is a bit of a jerk for assuming that your boyfriend would be fine with hugging her just because he was willing to hug his own boyfriend. Not the asshole. I know at 19 it feels like forever. You don't have to fix him. It's wonderful that you're a caring person and you want to help him. Sounds like he has rightfully so a lot of trauma that some therapy could be beneficial. Don't lose your spark trying to be boyfriend and healer. PLS, take care of yourself. Mental health problems are literally the worst thing to deal. Cases will kill you inside. Casey need therapy. Do not be a resting pole. Your BF needs therapy, and he needs to learn how to manage. This sounds very exhausting. Everything was fine until Sunday when my dad and Casey got to talking and my dad absent-mindedly said something about his parents missing out on such a sweet boy. Can you explain why this set him off? Most people understand that their spouse, significant other, will share at the very least, broad strokes about them to family. If he got so pissed about an honest mistake, being pouty about it a week later, good riddance. Nah. Your BF clearly is going through a lot, but you and your family have good intentions. You're very young to be dealing with this level of intensity. When I was 17-18 I was with a guy with a similar backstory and mental issues. Those relationships can become very codependent and toxic quickly. I think you need to ask yourself if you really want to be dealing with this at your age. This is the age relationships should be fun and easy. And your BF clearly needs time to process and heal from his traumas. Not the asshole, but listen. Relationships are not meant to be this much hard work straight from the get-go. I would argue that your BF deserves love and support, but he also needs to work on himself, through therapy and counseling. His outbursts and panic attacks anytime someone touches him are going to be detrimental to both of you. If the mere mention of his parents missing out on a great guy sends him over the edge like this, he needs help. Your dad was being kind and didn't say anything hinting at him being kicked out or living on the streets. Not the asshole, but you need to talk to your BF. You are not the asshole. Your boyfriend has a severe issues that he needs to work on. They are no fault of his own, but he still has to try to survive in this world. Additionally, it's frightening that your family didn't believe you and ignored your warning. You went out of your way to tell them what was going on and the best way to handle your boyfriend. And I can understand why he is upset that you disclosed personal information without his consent, but also I think your heart was in the right place, and you wanted them to be able to really understand and support both him and you. Hopefully you can navigate this differently in the future by discussing with him first the things you want to disclose and why. But also it sounds like you're in over your head a little bit with this relationship and needing your family's support, so I don't blame you for getting it. I feel for Casey, but I think you are incompatible. Nah. Not the asshole. It's nice you're trying to be kind. But you're 19, break it off in the kindest way and be there for him as a friend. Enjoy your youth. Relationships are supposed to be fun and not stressful like this. It is not up to you to fix a child, especially coming from another child you. Not the asshole. It sounds like Casey needs to work with a therapist on his emotional triggers before he's ready for a relationship. Relationships should not be this complicated at your age. Not the asshole, but that kid is in no way ready for any kind of partner relationship. You're the asshole. You could have said he had a strong aversion to being touched without revealing that his parents threw him out when he was 13. That wasn't your story to share. Your mother is also an A for deciding that don't hug Casey was a suggestion that she could ignore. He needs to get some help before he's ready for a relationship. Sorry. I lived on the streets, and I don't like people hugging me, so I get those. I have PTSD and anxiety and ADHD, so I have issues. What I don't do is make my issues other people's problems or fault. I know you care about him, but there's just too much drama. Running off, making you worry, freaking out, being mad at you for trying to help and yelling at you. Relationships don't have to be that difficult. You can't fix him, that's his job. And nobody has a right to yell at you. I don't care about the reasons. You are worth more than that. Not the asshole. Also, really, dude? Do you really want a relationship with someone who is clearly suffering from multiple mental illnesses and is that quick to yell at you? He sounds like a bad person to date. Not the asshole. He's been through stuff, and needs serious therapy counseling if he ever wants a serious relationship to last, or to bite the bullet, take the risk and lean on someone. Nah, your boyfriend is a lot of work. Not the asshole. Yikes, I don't think relationships should be hard at that age. Been through it, we all have. I think he needs to go to therapy and process what has happened over time. That sucks what he went through, but I understand you being in a tough position as well. Going forward, I would leave our stories that are from people and keep it plain but straight to the point that he or your future partners don't like. Not the asshole, and while I feel sorry for you boyfriend, he needs therapy and to learn to accept himself, not a relationship. For his own good and your mental health, you should make an exit plan. Casey panicked and just got up and ran off. It took me like 2 hours to find him, and he was mad and yelled at me that I had no right to say anything to my parents. I tried to apologize and I told him I only said anything so they'd back off. You took on extra hard BF work. There will be glitches. Doing good, carry on. Not the asshole. Oof, the softest of you're the asshole. You clearly meant well and it was an honest mistake, but it really wasn't your information to share without permission. Hopefully he will calm down and realize you weren't trying to betray him, you were trying to protect him, and now that you know just how serious of a line that is for him, there's no way you'd cross it again. Give him time. I hope it works out for you, you seem to really love him. Not the asshole. I bet your parents were impressed when he ran away and hid.